Greetings everyone. Today we are going to explore analyzing graphs. Now you definitely want the note sheet for this video. It's going to make it much easier. It's too much to write down otherwise because we're going to take graphs and pictures and we're going to break them down and analyze them. To start, let's just do a couple quick definitions. The first definition here is analyze. This is a word you use in every class you have, right? So analyze means to examine carefully in detail, to identify the nature and the relationship of its parts. So in math, we're going to analyze a graph. Like, what is the data telling us? In English, you might analyze a text to see what the author is trying to portray. In science, you might analyze the results of a test or an experiment to see what information you can gather. In social studies, you might analyze a piece of historical information and decide what do those parts mean in the world today. So this is a vocab word that is very strong that you're going to use throughout your educational experience. Let's start in this class by analyzing this table. So the first thing I notice is the title says sunscreen. Okay, we're talking about sunscreen. And how many uses we use of sunscreen and how much sunscreen is there in the bottle, I'm assuming, because it says ounces. So we're going to start by just filling in the blank. Let's start off a little easier. So the amount of sunscreen in the container blank after each use. Now I'm not looking for a one-word right answer. I'm open to different vocab words. So the first vocab word we could use is we could say decreases. The amount of sunscreen decreases after each use. You could say goes down, right? I'm open to how you say that. But I care that you understand the numbers are going down. The next sentence, the amount of sunscreen in the container changes blank. I'm going to say negatively. That's another way to describe decreases, but it seems to make a little more sense. And I'm also going to say by 0.2. It's decreasing by 0.2 each jump. The next sentence, the graph should blank at a slow rate. The graph. Okay, so if I was to plot these, my graph would go down, would decline, would decrease at a slow rate. Any of those are okay. Let's analyze a picture graph. We're talking about a June cell phone cost. I'm just going to look at the picture here. We're talking about costs, so cost can go up over time. Minutes of calls as I go to the right. So what I'm seeing here is the cost is the same for a while, and then after so many calls, I have to pay more. So for you, think of it like data, right? Like you pay for so much data, no matter what, but if you go over the data, whoop, your cost goes up. Let's fill in the blanks here. The cost of the cell phone in June, blank with the number of minutes of calls. Well, in general, my cost is going up. It's increasing. You could say goes up, increases. The cost of the cell phone in June is blank for the first part of the month. Oh, so how do I describe this piece here? It's the same for the first part of the month. It's constant the first part of the month. I'm open to any word that says there's no change. Next, it says describe how the variables of the graph are related. So we want to take, what we mean by that is the labels. How does the cost and the minutes relate? Let's just turn that into a sentence. As the minutes of calls increases, so does the cost, right? Over time, more calls, more money. All right, this time we're going to analyze this graph. And just looking at the graph, I have no idea what it's about. But I see 5 descriptions, and we're talking about water in a cup. So if I look at this first piece, right, it's going up, it's pretty steep. So if I'm going up steeply, I'm pouring water into the cup quickly, right? So the volume is increasing quick. Let's look at the second piece. Well, the second piece is still going up just a little slower. Oh, and I actually said the word. I'm still increasing the amount of water, just slower. The third piece we'll notice is constant, right? It's not going up or down. So there's no water going into the cup. It's just the same. The fourth piece, whoa, it declined fast. That is very, very steep. So because it's steep, we are spilling water from the cup. Like it tipped the cup over and I grabbed it, but not quick enough. And the last piece, it's still going down just a little slower, right? So it's decreasing slower. And so we're just leaking from the cup a little bit. All right, let's take a look at this next one. On this next one, we're going to create the graph given the story. So suppose, let's just read through this one. So you're on a swing. And we want to make a graph for how does it go when you're swinging. So if I start off, if I sit on a swing, I'm just a little bit above the ground, right? Like if I sit on a swing, I'm above the ground, I'm not going anywhere. And what do you typically do? You push yourself back, right? So your height goes up just a little bit, as far as your tippy toes will reach. And then you lift your feet up. And when you lift your feet up, you go back to your sitting position, but your hope is that your body also swings forward to a little bit higher amount. And then you kick your feet. You pass that sitting position, and now you're higher, right? But then it says you slowly swing to a stop. So I go back to the sitting position and I kind of drag my feet. It doesn't stop me completely because I'm going slowly. But then I drag my feet a little more. And then I drag my feet a little more until I stop. The key is I stop, so I need an ending point. So what I just did is, this is the height, right? My height from the ground. It's a physical height. And then this would be just time, over time. It could be seconds, milliseconds, minutes, right? I'm not saying what the unit is, I'm just saying over time. So we created a visual representation of my height. So kind of a lot of information here. A lot of this is just looking at some information and figuring it out. So make sure you let me know if you have any questions. As always, make sure you check out Google Classroom to see what your task is, see what you need to accomplish. And until next time, have a good one.